Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I have had a request, or several requests actually, for a very slow video using 3 ribbon. And people have seen a lot of my videos and they have remarked that I move my hands the exact same way in every video. And I had to think about that for a minute. And actually, yes, I do. I have very specific ways how I move my hands. I want to move my hands as absolutely as little as possible. This is about speed. You want to be able to make this bow, just really whip it out and just make this bow absolutely as quickly as possible with as few hand movements as possible. So that is what this video is about. It's going to be long, it's going to be slow. So make yourself a glass of sweet tea or a cup of coffee, sit down, and I hope you enjoy this. So let's begin. First, I would like to talk just a moment about the position that you're working from. I do Facebook video messenger, and I've done this with a couple of ladies, and I discovered during our little visit that they were sitting on the floor. Now that's fine if that works for you. I'm certainly not telling everybody how they have to do anything, but I actually tried it. And the bow maker, if you sit on the floor, the position of your bow maker is really at your knees. And I found it quite awkward to do. And being the old lady that I am, it's too hard for me to get up anyway. But anyway, I think it would just work a lot better because you're really working off of this angle. This is the important part, is right here. You're going to see as we go along, we're going to be working off, we're going to stack out from right here. And I just think that's a really awkward position to work from. I just think it would be better if you actually, I always stand. I've tried doing this sitting down, and if I sit down, then I'm looking more like this at it, as opposed to kind of from, you know, more of a bird's eye view. So anyway, that, of course, that's up to you, but I just believe myself that if you stand and put your bow maker on a table, that it'll probably work a little better for you. The next thing is, let's make sure that you have your non-skid pads stuck on the bottom, because you want a solid and stable working situation. I cannot stand, if you've watched any of my videos, I say this all the time, I just can't stand anything moving around on me. So anyway, we have our board down, we have our non-skid pads on. You see how close my spool holder is to me? That's how I usually put it. Make sure you have your, in this video I'm going to do a bow using 3 ribbon, and so I have my ribbon on, and make sure you always come off to the right. That's very important. If you do it the other way, then the ribbon pulls across your board and it just makes a mess. So you just always come off to the right. Now, as I said before, this is going to be very slow and extremely detailed. And people have asked how I do every movement. Please disregard this monitor. I'm watching the monitor myself to make sure that I'm controlling the shots that you're seeing. So as you can see, I'm adjusting a little bit because my hands were a little off camera. And as we go along, I'm going to stop sometime and we're going to change camera angles because I want to make sure that you see everything very, very clearly. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to put wire on the end of the ribbon. I give classes, and you just wouldn't believe what some ladies do to put wire on the end of the ribbon. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and I can assure you this is truly the easiest way. I gave a class, and the lady kept wrapping the wire around her finger. So I'm going to show you, please don't do that. And I'm going to show you just exactly how I hold my fingers up under this wire. I mean up under the ribbon to put the wire on. And as I go along, you'll see that I hold my hands very low down. I keep my hands low. I don't hold my hands up in the air. If at any point, if you're holding your hands up here, your ribbon will pop off the end of your spool holders. It'll just pop off. So as you're working, just hold your hands close down to the table, and it'll work a lot better for you. We don't want that ribbon popping off. You want it to stay on that spool absolutely as long as possible. So I have stacked my 3 ribbon. I'm going to pick it up. Let me first show you, because I want you to see how I'm holding my fingers under here. So you'll do like this, and then, so that's your thumb, your index finger, and then your middle finger. And see this position? You see how I have my middle finger stuck out just a little bit? As you pick up your ribbon, that's what you want to do, because you're going to come from behind with your wire, and you're going to slip it there. And just for a moment, that wire's just going to sit right there. So that's what you want to do. Have your finger stuck out, and then after you get your wire on, you're going to just pull your finger back. I said it was going to be detailed, so here we go. So as I'm picking up my ribbon, I'm going to pinch my ribbon, and I'm going to swing. Now watch where my thumbs are. I'm going to leave my right hand in place, and I'm going to pivot my thumb. I'm going to pivot my hand. I'm going to leave my thumb in that place, and then I'm going to hold it like this. The right way to do this is you want that your little end of your ribbon pointing away from you and pointing away from the board. Okay? Let me show you that one more time. So you're going to stack your ribbon. Let me get this stacked really neat again. And gather it up. Don't do this. Don't fold it over. If you fold your ribbon over, it just doesn't open as pretty. When you're opening your bow, it just doesn't open quite as pretty. If you see how I'm just slowly doing it, just a little gather there, okay? Now see, but you can see both of my thumbs. Now I'm going to pivot. See how I'm pivoting? I'm just going to pivot. Now I'm going to let go. Now this is where what I just showed you before. See my 2 fingers together, and see underneath? My finger's sticking out just a little bit, because now I'm going to come with my wire, and I'm going to stick it behind my finger, and that is how I'm holding it all together. Okay? Now when you're doing, of course this is extremely slow, but when you're doing this in actual time, this just takes a moment. But I want you, every step of the way in this video, I'm going to show you my exact hand movements, because I've had a lot of requests for this. So you see where my pointer finger is? It's sticking out just a little bit, but it's holding my wire there. Okay, now I'm going to come from the top, and I'm going to wrap it around. I'm pulling toward myself, and I'm going to wrap it around. Make sure you miss your finger in the back. Okay, just do it tightly. Go around once or twice, maybe 3 times. I usually go around twice. I wasn't counting there, but anyway, that's how you get your wire. That's the absolute easiest way you can possibly put wire on the end of a ribbon. Okay, now keeping your ribbon low, you're going to come across the bottom. You're going to come up the left side, and you see I'm just pulling off how much ribbon I need. See how this ribbon is still really nice. That's how we're going to keep this during the whole time we're making this bow. We're going to keep this ribbon straight, not tangled up, and keep it on these spools as long as possible. So I went along the bottom, I came up the left side, came around the top. And now I'm going to pinch. And now I'm also going to stop and change the camera angle so you can see this much better. This is a very important step. So just a moment, I'm going to change camera angle. Okay, we've changed our camera angle. I want you to pay very close attention to what goes on right here. As you can see, I've come around my base dowel, or my base finger, and I've pinched my little wrap right around that base dowel, or finger. And the top piece of wire, pull it around, go to the left. Always go clockwise and go to the left. If you go to the right, it'll just swing this around this way, and you don't want that. It won't, the ribbon won't secure to the dowel correctly. So, and then don't go to the bottom. If you do that, it's going to make your bow very lopsided. You will always be working off the center of this base finger. So pinch, and I'm going to hold it there because I'm going to secure this wire, and then I'm going to be able to let it go. So I'm going to pinch and hold it. I'm going to go to the left, and I'm going to pull my wire up. If you wrap your wire around here, all the way down here, at the end it'll be covered up with your ribbon, and you won't be able to get it off quickly at the end. So anyway, here we go. I'm pinching, I'm pulling my wire up, I'm coming around my base finger, and I'm just wrapping this wire on. Do this carefully. Try to wrap it all around itself very neatly. It just holds better that way. Okay? Now I'm going to switch hands. I'm still holding that in place, and I'm going to go around the nail just one time. I just went around that nail just one time, and I'm going to take the end of the wire and I'm going to stick it under my board. Let's get this out of the way, and I want you to have a good shot of that. So the ribbon is secured to the center of base finger. The wire is wrapped around. Leave that little bitty piece. See that little bitty piece? We're gonna, let me talk to my cameraman. I want him to zoom in right here. I'm gonna hold my finger there so you can see it. I want a good zoom in. He's gonna come in. That's my husband, Dave. He's standing right behind me, and he's gonna zoom in here for you. See how I've left that little piece? I want you to leave that just like that. See how neatly I wrap this wire around here? I'm halfway. This is wrapped very neatly. And see that little piece? I left that. That's so you can get your wire out quickly at the end. Now, Dave, go down. I want him to see the nail. Okay, see the nail? I went around the nail just once. I went to the right, and then I slid that little piece, a little extra piece under there. You want that out of your way, and you want to leave that little loop so you can get that off quickly at the end. So now the center loop of our bow is made. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is change our camera angle. Okay, we've changed our camera angle. What I want you to notice here is the bottoms up movement, and I want you to see what happens to the ribbon, how we keep it straight. It's very important. That's why the spool holder comes with it. I want you to never have spools rolling on the floor or tangled ribbon. And if you do the bottoms up movement every time, that will happen. It's going to stay straight. So that's what we're going to concentrate on now. We've pulled out, we had to pull the camera out so we could get all of this in the shot. After I do this, we're going to zoom back in again so you get a better shot at the bottoms up movement from this angle. So the next hand movement that I do is this. I'm going to be doing this to the right and then this to the left. I'm going to be doing right, left, right, left. I'm going to be pinching down to my finger, and this is how I hold my finger. Okay? Put your finger at the bottom of your little knot. Always work from that point. You never want to make your twist above or below. You always work every time straight out from your knot. Your next twist, you're going to lay it on top of the twist before it. That's very important to get your bow to come out beautifully. That's what's so very hard about making bows by hand, is to be able to hold all of that in your hand and none of those knots slip. They need to stay straight up and down, and you'll have a beautiful bow that way. Okay? So I'm going to put my finger here. I'm putting the bottom edge of the ribbon on my finger, working right from that knot. So finger here, bottom edge of ribbon to my finger, and now I'm just going to gather down to my finger. And this is the bottoms up movement. All it is a half twist. That's all I'm doing. I'm bringing let me show you that again. I'm bringing the bottom edge of the ribbon up. So finger here, bottom edge of ribbon to my finger. I'm making a nice little gather. Bring the bottom edge of the ribbon up. It's just a little half twist. In class, some of the classes that I give, for some reason, ladies want to just keep going round and round. You don't. All it is a half of a twist, and you just bring the bottom edge of the ribbon up. You're going to be able to see this better whenever I go the other way. This is what I want you to notice now. See this twist starting? This, don't be concerned, this always starts on the right, but we're going to make this go away in just a moment. The next thing that I want you to notice is how I use my finger as my guide. Do this. You're going to put your thumb and your forefinger in front. You're going to put your 3 fingers behind. Use your forefinger as your guide, and you just drop it over. Okay? That's all you do. Use your forefinger as your guide. There's never any reason to be taking both hands and getting all this ribbon around here, around the top of your bow. Let me mention that now also. You're just making a bow sideways. This is the top of your bow. This is the bottom of your bow. Okay? And you see that twist? There you can really see it well. We're going to make that go away miraculously. Finger here. Remember? I said we're going to do this to the right, we're going to do this to the left. So finger here. See, I'm going to pick it up right there in the middle of that little twist. And notice that I'm almost working sideways. I bring this ribbon around almost sideways. Don't do it from this position. I guess you can. I just find that this works just a little better. I almost pick it up, well, I guess I do. I pick it up from the bottom edge of my ribbon because I want that bottom edge to sit on my finger, and I'm going to put it there. So there's the bottom edge to my finger, and now I'm gathering down to my finger, and I'm making my twist right on top of the previous one. And it's just a little half twist. That's all it is. I think you can clearly see that. In the next twist, we're going to zoom in so you can see that better. You can put your thumb there if you like, but now I'm going to take my finger around. See how I have my thumb and my pointer finger, and my 3 other fingers are below my ribbon. And this is just, my ribbon is just gliding through my hand. I'm not holding on. There's no strain. It's all it is a simple little easy glide. Your hands will never cramp again, and you just glide. See how I'm just going to run my finger? It's just a little glide, and I'm just pulling enough. You see, you can tell I'm just pulling enough ribbon so that I can get it over. And that is it. That's all there is to it. That is all the hand movements. That's all there is to it. And you see, because I did that bottoms up movement, the twist forms on the right, it goes away on the left. And see, your ribbon stays straight. Never have twisted ribbon again if you do bottoms up. It's really harder to do it the wrong way. The bottoms up movement is really the natural way. It's going to be the natural flow. And you'll just see how easy that is. So that is really all the hand movements there are. This is really all there is. It doesn't matter if you're making bows on the small hand, the large hand, deluxe, or ultimate. I have now shown you all the hand movements that there is to know. I'm going to continue making the bow because we're going to zoom in. And I want to have a nice big bow. Because I'm going to show you how to fluff it also. So I'm going to stop here again because we're going to change the camera angle and we're going to zoom in so you can see that bottoms up movement closer. Okay, here we have a little different camera angle. We tried to zoom in. Here I'm going to go. I'm going to put my finger here. I'm putting the bottom edge of the ribbon to my finger. I am pinching down to it right on top of the previous knot and bottoms up. See where I put my thumb? I set my thumb down and I'm just twisting. See? Oh, you're getting a good view. I'm watching on that monitor. There it is. I'm watching the monitor to make sure that you're seeing what I want you to see. So let me show you that again. Finger here, bottom edge of ribbon to my finger, pretty little gather to it. I put my thumb down and I just bring my hand up. I just tilt my hand up. It's a half twist. And that's all. See, now the bottom edge of the ribbon is up. Here I'm going to do this. I'm just smooth, little easy glide using my forefinger as my guide, and I'm just dropping it over. That's all there is to it. Now I'm going to go to the left. Let me show you how that, see how it looks? All your little stacks stay right on top of the other, okay? Now you can see that twist, it's starting right here. We're going to make that go away. Bottom edge of your finger here. See, put my finger here. There's the bottom edge of the ribbon. See, I'm almost holding my ribbon sideways, almost. I don't work straight up and down. It just seems to be a little bit more natural and the flow seems to be better if I come almost sideways. So there's my finger, the bottom edge. There's the bottom edge of my ribbon. See if you hold it up. The bottom edge of my ribbon. Bottom edge of my ribbon to my finger. There's my little gather. And here is the twist. See, it's just a little half twist. You can leave your thumb there. And now I'm going to use my pointer finger as my guide. And I'm just pulling off enough to just drop it over. That's all there is to it. It's just that easy. And you see there's no stress on my hands. And another thing, just let your ribbon fall over the fingers. You don't see me pulling. I just let it fall over, pull it a little snug, that's all. But you just kind of just let it go over. Just keep it nice and neat. See how that looks? See how nice that looks. That is how it is supposed to look. But I'm not pulling hard. If you pull, and that's another thing that I find most people do whenever I give classes, because people are just used to just holding on for dear life because they're used to making bows in their own hands, and that's what you have to do. You have to hold on for dear life to try to make a bow in your own hand. But you don't have to do that here. This is the hand. These are the fingers. This is everything holding it for you. Okay, so you can just let it just come around gently. That's all that's needed. So let's go to the next fingers. There's my finger. See, I do exactly the same thing every time. Bottom edge of ribbon to my finger. Neat little gather right on top of the previous. Bottoms up, which you'll hear me say in all the videos. See, bottom edge of ribbon, bring it up. It's a half twist. And now look, I'm just going to swing my finger over and drop it down. So here we go. Finger, bottom edge of ribbon to my finger. There's my pinch. Let me get my hand out the way there. I'm watching on the monitor. And bottom edge of the ribbon is down here. Now twist, bring it up. It's a half twist. Let me pull a little bit of ribbon around. And now see what I'm going to do? Use my forefinger as my guide. And you can see that ribbon is just gliding through my fingers. Okay, this is how it's supposed to look. All the little knots right on top of each other. All the twist, right on top of the twist before. And that is how it's supposed to look. Now, let's finish. Here we go again. It's just the same thing over and over and over. Bottom finger below my knots, or my twist. Bottom edge of ribbon. You want your tails facing up, so we have to twist the ribbon again so they will face up. This is up, this is the top, this is the bottom. So finger here. There's your pinch. There's your little pinch. Bottom edge, bring it up. and just move this over and get it out of your way. Now, a couple of ladies, I've had a couple of questions about how do you get this to wire off very, very tightly at the end. What I do now is that I just move my hand. Now watch what I do. That's where I was holding my thumb before. Now I'm just going to swing my hand around like this. Okay? What I'm doing, now you have to hold it. If you let this go, you see how that loosens up? And that'll make your last loop loose. Okay? It'll make it big. So whenever I made my last pinch and twist, I take this hand and I push my ribbon over here, and now I just swing my finger around, and I'm using the back of my finger to hold everything in place. Now I'm going to come back. Remember our little piece of wire? Come back and get it. I'm going to try to do this without getting my hand in the way. But get your little piece of wire. Don't jerk it straight up. If you do, it'll make a knot in your wire. You want to just jiggle it just a little bit. So let's find it. I always kind of put my thumb here because sometimes it moves on you, and it did. Look, it moved around a little bit to the back, and there it is. See where it is? Okay, I'm going to just grab this, and I'm just going to jiggle it off. See, it's just a tiny little jiggle. Always come off to the left. If you come off to the right, all you're doing is wrapping your wire around the base finger. You went on clockwise, you have to come off counterclockwise. If you do that, you're going to be free of the bow maker, and that's what you want to do. So there, always lay that, and see, you can tell, you see this? You can tell that I'm holding my finger here very firmly. Okay, now I'm getting that piece of wire, and I'm going to hold it. Now, we're going to stop here, and my husband is going to hold the camera by hand because he's going to drop down. I want you to see how I get that piece of wire off the nail. Okay, we've changed our camera angle for you again because I want you to see just how I do this. I take that piece of wire off basically with my pointer finger. As you can see, in a lot of this, you use your pointer finger, and you're kind of working off the tips of your fingers a lot. So I'm going to just, that's why you left a little circle, so that you can just pull that out. And now I'm going to use my pointer finger, and you see that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it off that nail. And now I'm going to bring it up. And I think my hand is going to pass in front of your view. Kind of working at an awkward angle. But and there you twist it off. Let me get my hands out the way. You bring your top one down, you bring the bottom one up, pull it tightly because you want this piece of wire on here as tight as you can. You want to just really tighten this up because when you open your bow, you don't want any of this to move. So it's important that you get this off tightly. Just twist it around a couple of times, and that is it. Your bow is perfectly made. Now, I've had a couple of ladies ask me, how do you get a tail on your bow? With this bow, we're going to have 3 tails. Okay, Mr. Cameraman, you're going to have to pull out just a bit. I wanted to see right here. Okay. Now, your ribbon is still attached. All you're going to do with this bow, I'm going to put this on a package, so I'm going to fold my ribbon over. I'm going to make my little dovetail cut. You cut your ribbon. You cut your ribbon away from the spools. There is your tail. And that's all there is to it. Now, you're going to lift your bow, and you have a perfectly made, this is considered a boutique quality hand-tied bow. Your bow is perfectly made. And that's all there is to it. It is just that easy. Now, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to do this in real time. I'm going to incorporate all the hand movements that I just showed you, but I'm going to show you just how fast you can make a bow. Incorporating those little hand movements, and you'll see just how incredibly easy this is. I'll be back with you in a moment. Okay, here we go. Now, I'm going to incorporate all those little hand movements that I just showed you. And I've tried this a couple of times, and believe it or not, I know some of you who know me well find this hard to believe. I cannot talk as fast as I can make a bow. So I'm not going to be saying a whole lot. I'm going to say a few words because I want to show you just how fast you can now make a bow. So here we go. You're going to gather up your ribbon, swing it around in your right hand. You're going to come from behind. 1, 2, 1 wire up, wire down. Here we're going to go around the center finger. There's my pinch. Here's my wire going to the left, wrap it on itself, leave a little piece, switch hands, go around the nail just once, stick it under the board. Center loop is made. Pinch, twist, bottoms up, glide. Pinch, twist, right on top, there's my glide. Finger, pinch, twist. Use my finger as my glide. Bring some ribbon around, pinch, twist, right on top of the previous pinch. I'm using my finger as my guide and gliding it along. Finger there, pinch, twist. Is this amazingly fast? Is this easy? Can I say easy? Pinch, twist, right on top before. Pull just a little ribbon around. See how nice and straight it is. I can really go a little faster than this. Pinch and twist. There's my finger here. Get the little piece. Pull it up. Take that off. Cross really tight. And that is all there is to it. How do you like that? Pretty amazing. So easy. Now, I'm going to stop here, and the next portion is I'm going to show you how to fluff this bow. Also, let's do this again. We need to get our tails on this bow, and how do we do this? We cut the ribbon, and I'm going to fold this over, all three at the same time. All of this is about speed. I'm cutting all three, I'm dovetailing them, and that's it. My bow is free of the bow maker, and I have 3 tails. And it's just that simple. Okay, I'll see you in the next segment. Okay, now I'm going to fluff the bow, and of course I'm going to be using the box. Please go to the Gallery of Bows large hand, and we're now going to start numbering our videos. This is going to be video 1. You can watch that video. I explain how to make the box. You can purchase a box from us, or you can make your own. So anyway, I explain the box fully, and you can find that in the Gallery of Bows large hand video 1. So we're going to put our bow on, and I'm going to fluff out my tails. Because this is anchored, this makes all the difference in the world in fluffing a bow. Before, whenever I owned my Christmas store and I had not dreamed this up, or God had not given me this wonderful idea yet, because believe me, this came straight from God, we used to just pull our bows apart. I called them air fluffing, because you're just doing it in the air. And you're going to hear me say one of my favorite words, and that's wumpy jaw. You see how this is all stacked perfectly right here? That's very important. That needs to stay. That is holding everything in position. That's why it was important to get the wire really tight. You really need to get this wire really tight, because you're going to see how hard I'm going to be pulling on this bow, because you take control of your ribbon. You master your ribbon. It's wired ribbon. You put it where you want it, and it will stay. Okay? But it's important that you have that wire on there tight when you made your bow, because you want this to remain. Whenever I do a 3-ribbon bow, you see I have it all sitting up ready for me to start fluffing. Whenever I do a 3-ribbon bow, I always start from the top. When I do a terry bow, I normally start from the bottom. But this just seems to work better for me because you want to also set your pattern. I've used 3 different ribbon. Whenever I use 3 different ribbon, in this one I use basically a stripe, a solid, and a polka dot. I leave my solid in the center. I set it up that way also. Whenever I set it up on the spool holder, I had the polka dot, I had the solid, and then the stripe. And so anyway, here we go. I'm going to start fluffing this bow. Put your fingers through your loops. Don't pull from the edges. I've torn ribbons so many times that way. Very important to put your fingers through the loops and pull. Okay? You can tell, look, you can tell I'm pulling. You want to open this ribbon all the way to the very center. See, I'm watching on the monitor. I had to move my hand out the way. You want to open this ribbon all the way to the center. You want the full effect of the loop. And see what I've done here? I've turned this to the side because that is how I want my ribbon to sit in the center of my bow. I don't like it. I always turn these to the side. If I don't, then whenever I look at my bow, I'm going to have a straight loop, and a straight loop. And I don't like it that way. You're gonna see here, let me pull this one and watch what I'm gonna do. See, I'm turning it to the side. And I'm gonna work this, and I'm gonna open this fully to the center. And you see how I'm gonna set this sideways. And whenever I get done, see, I just open my fingers in my loops. This is the center of my bow, and this is my center. This is the center. And see how I have set this? And now I can do this so easily. And let me show you how how I begin. See how that looks? See how pretty? And I've turned this one sideways. I turn that one sideways, and I'm letting my center just be the center. And that's how I do this every time. This would be very difficult to do if I was doing this, if I was air opening. I'd really have to fool with this. You want to fool with this as little as possible. But I'm showing you very, very slowly here. But that's how I start. Okay. Now, again, you want to start placing your ribbon. I wouldn't put all greens here, so I want to just start paying attention and start making my pattern. So since this green is here, I'm going to put it over here on this side. And you're going to see, let's see, fingernails come in handy here to get one. And you see what I'm going to do? Putting my fingers through. And I don't know why I do this, but it just seems to work really well. See how I completely turn that over. See how I did that? And then and then before I leave it, see how I put my fingers through? And I'm fluffing up that little loop. The red's there, so I want to pull the red over this way. And look, you can see just how hard I'm pulling. I'm pulling. I want that ribbon to open all the way down to the center because it's held down. It's held down to the box. You can see how hard I can pull on this. I'm opening my loops. I'm also forming my bow at the same time. So now, this is my center. I'm going to put the polka dot over there. Let's see. I put my polka dot over here. Okay, see? And look, I've pulled it all the way over here. I had a lady send me a picture of a bow not very long ago, and she said all of her bows, whenever she opened them, they were pointed. They were pointed on the ends. That she had a nice center, she was happy with her center, but she felt like this part of her bow was pointed. The reason for that was, I could see that immediately, is she had not pulled her loops all the way around. If you don't pull all of these around and form your bow, again, difficult to do if your bow is not secured down, but that is the reason why her bow looked like it did, because she was not pulling her loops all the way around. Let's see, the red's there, and you can see fingers through the loops, and look at the pull. Pull and open. See how I'm forming my bow? Again, I'm doing this very slowly so you can get the full effect of just how I do that. Okay? But you can see just how pretty this bow is forming. You can tell this is going to be a beautiful bow already. Okay, one more row to go. Let's see, I think I'm going to pull the green. The hardest part of this is being able to pick up the piece of ribbon. Okay, I'm going to pull this. See? Pull. You can tell by my hand movements, I'm really pulling. Let's sit this over here. I think I'll leave the red here, and I'm going to pull this green all the way over here. Whenever you use 3 ribbon, I've never been able to do it to where at some point you don't have the same ribbon sitting next to itself. You're going to see here, you see I have a green and a green that are pretty close. But I've never figured out how not to have that happen. But it's still beautiful. Most of them are separated. Eventually it has to come back around to itself. So see how incredibly easy and perfectly formed this bow is. And I guarantee you I could not do this if this bow was not anchored down. This is half of the bow. This is just half of the bow. And look how beautiful it is. It's beautiful and it's perfect. Of course, I can always tinker with it just a little bit. My favorite word here now is foo-foo. I just have to kind of keep foo-fooing. Okay. So anyway, I'm always kind of picking at it and foo-fooing a little bit more. But anyway, I think that's perfect. And I need to move on. So let's swing it around. We're going to do the other side. Okay, the green's there. I have a green one here. I think I'm going to leave the green in the middle. I have polka dots here. I'll pull this polka dot on that side, and I'm going to put the red to the left. I'll leave the green in the middle. Let's get the polka dot. I'm going to pull this polka dot out right here. There we go, polka dot. I'll leave the green in the middle. Pull the red over. Fingers all the way through. Pull. You can tell I'm pulling on this, but I'm forming my bow all at the same time. Let's see, what am I going to do with the green? I think I'm going to pull the green this way. Pull. See how I'm pulling? I'm pulling on this ribbon. It's going to stay where I put it. And I'm forming my bow. I'm going to leave the red. No, let's see. I have to put the polka dot in the middle because I want the red to sit right under that loop. Here we go. Pull. And I always seem to do that. See how I'm flipping my hand? I really don't know why I do that. I just do. And it just seems, for some reason, to really give a little extra oomph or a little extra separation. You want all those loops to open all the way down to the bottom. Now, and here's our last one. I'm going to leave the green in the center. I'm going to pull the polka dot over here. Pull. Fingers through the loops. Open that ribbon all the way to the bottom. And then here we're going to have the red sitting right next to its little self, but that's just how that works out. And see how I'm pulling this all the way around. Couldn't do this. It would be very hard to do this if this was not anchored. So I have formed my bow. See, it takes as much attention to forming your bow and opening your bow as it does making your bow. Actually, I spend a little more time fluffing my bow. You saw how fast I made it. You can just make your bow that fast. I spend just a little bit more time opening. But you can see using this box just how incredibly easy and how beautiful the bow comes out. You open it, you fluff it, you open it, form it all in one step, and you have a beautiful bow. And if you don't foo-foo as much as I do, this step gets a little easier and a little faster. Well, not easier, but a little bit faster. But I seem to foo-foo quite a bit. But anyway, there you go. Perfectly made bow, perfectly fluffed bow. And that is how the bow lady does it. And there it is. See there? I wish I knew how many bows I have made in my life. Used to own that Christmas store. Sometimes I'd have to make 100 a day. I simply had no hands left. So here we go. There's your perfectly made bow. Thank you so very, very much for joining me today. I certainly hope this helps you. I hope you have enjoyed this. Thanks so much, and see you the next time. We have some more videos ready to be made for you. Some new videos I think you will really enjoy. Thanks. Bye for now.